sir.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, good morning, sir. My name is Nikita Varkala. I'm from Hyderabad and graduated in ACE Engineering College from a stream of Computer Science and Engineering. And I studied intermediate in Sri Gayatri Junior College for Girls. And coming to my 10th, I've completed in Anveshni Grammar High School. And coming to my technical skills, I know front end and back end and React.js, SpringBoot, and Node.js, and also the Java, advanced Java. And I have done projects regarding those uh, skills. And that's it.
Are you good in Java? How much you rate yourself out of 5?
Out of 5, I rate like 4.
4.
Yeah.
What is the difference between overloading and overriding?
Overloading and overriding. Okay. Overloading, in a one class we have a multiple same name methods, but which contains different number of parameters, and also the different data type. And coming to overriding, the child class override the child class overrides the method of the parent, like already written method in the parent class. It is changed or given a extra method or some by a child class. That's
Okay. Okay. Um, Explain about execution process of Java.
execution process. Okay. We need JDK first of all to run the Java program, and we have to write a main method, which is the starting execute point of the Java, any Java program. So first we have to write a public main static method, one class, and then after creating, we have to save that file with the extension .java. And in that command, first we have to write give is javac the file name .java. It's for the compiler. Then the execution we have to give java space the class name. Then the program will be executed, and before that it creates a dot class file, which is a bytecode class. That's it.
Okay. Inside the JVM, what are the components are available?
Inside the JVM, class files and
Not class files. What are the components are available inside the JVM?
libraries and tools, or wait, JRE plus the tools which are required to run.
Inside JRE, we have JVM. Inside JVM, we have class loader, bytecode verifier, like that. Do you have any idea about that?
Yes, sir.
Explain the components of JVM. Flow of JVM, how it will execute.
Flow of JVM. Actually, I didn't see that.
Okay. Explain the principles of OOPS concept. 4 pillars of OOPS concept.
OOPS concept. The main 4 principles of the OOPS concepts are abstraction, inheritance, and encapsulation, and polymorphism. Where the inheritance is like where one class properties are inherited by another class. Like child class can have all the properties of the parent class, and like polymorphism, it's like many forms where one class can acquires multiple forms. And abstraction, which hides the implementation of the methods, like it only provides the required information and hides everything. And encapsulation, it binds the data and the data and the objects. Yeah, that's it, sir. Sir, hello.
What is the main advantage of inheritance and encapsulation?
Inheritance main advantages is like we cannot uh, we can reuse the code methods, like we if one method is required in another class which is a child, we did not write, we can we did not have to write the same methods in multiple areas, so reusability of the code will the main advantage of inheritance. And encapsulation, the main advantages is like it used for security purpose, like private, the it's like some information which is private, with this that not to be shown to others. So encapsulation is mainly used in security purpose, like its eyes.
Correct, correct. So what is the difference between Spring Framework and Spring Boot?
Framework and Spring Boot. Okay. Spring Framework, mainly the Spring Boot main feature is auto configuration. In Spring Framework, we have to write a lot of configuration code in a uh, im- explicitly we have to give all the configurations. And the boiler code in a Spring Framework is more, we have to write a more lines of codes for a simple function. But whereas in a Spring Boot, a boilerplate will has been reduced. And uh,
Hmm.
in Spring Framework,
What are the main features of Spring Framework?
Spring Framework
Hmm.
main feature. Actually, I know the Spring Boot main feature, but Spring Framework.
Dependency. What is dependency injection?
Where the one object is injected into the another class, the class need not to be create its own object. The Spring controller is the responsibility to give the required objects to that class. And IOC uses the dependency injection. Sorry, dependency injection
Which
uses
annotation is used to inject one class object into another class?
auto wire. Auto wired annotation is used.
Hmm. What is the main purpose of IOC controller? Sorry, IOC.
uh, which manages the objects of the classes. And uh, it manages the life cycle of the object, like it creates and deletes all the life cycle of that object is managed by the IOC. And uh, it creates and configures the
The main purpose of IOC container is which is used to manage the life cycle of a
of the
Spring Bean.
objects. Yeah,
Correct.
that yes sir, that only I said first.
Hmm. So, what is the Spring Boot three-layer architecture?
Three layer architecture: presentation layer, business layer, and the database.
Hmm.
Architecture only, no sir, you asking?
Yeah, yeah, and that
Yeah,
means controller layer, service layer,
layer, yeah,
repository layer.
yeah.
Hmm.
Repository layer. Like where in service layer, it consists all the business logic. Um, and coming control layer, which handles the web request, like user request, and it gives back the responses. Like it is the main used for RESTful APIs, to create RESTful APIs. It contains all the APIs controller methods. And repository layer, it is also known as a DO layer, like data access object layer. and it which contains all the access to the database and storage mechanism, which all contains in the repository layer. And we use iterate repository annotation to make a class as a repository layer class.
Okay. So the main purpose of controller layer is which is used
Yes.
to process the incoming HTTP request. Okay. Okay. When you client send the request,
Yes.
controller layer process that request. Okay. And
Yeah.
once the controller layer send that request to the service layer, it contains the main business logic.
Logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the service layer send input to the repository layer.
Repository layer.
Okay.
Okay.
Repository layer, it which is used to interact with the database.
Database.
Okay,
Yes.
it performs
All
database
CRUD
operations
operations.
like
Yeah.
insert, update, delete.
Yes, sir. I said separately. Like I
Correct.
didn't. Second. Yeah.
Hmm. Next one is what is Spring Data JPA?
Spring Data JPA, which is sorry, which is uses ORM technology to which is an abstract layer of SpringBoot, which bind sorry, which is used to communicate between the relational database data to the Java objects, like we can.
Okay. What is the difference between ORM and JPA?
JPA, which is an a specification, like it describes the handling of relational database in a Java application, and ORM is a technology which is gives an implementation of the JPA. JPA doesn't have any implementation, but it's a specification, and it does not conduct any functionality. But ORM, it's a implementation of JPA, and used to save Java objects to the relational database system. One of the ORM tool is Hibernate, which is used in a Spring Boot it by default, and by using ORM, it reduces the writing queries, SQL queries, which contains all inbuilt methods. It generates the required SQL statements with the methods, and whereas JPA, it's a guideline like which contains a set of instructions and how to implement, but is does not have any code.
Okay. What are the configurations are there in Spring Boot?
Configurations. Okay,
Hmm.
main we use firstly uh, web configuration, like Spring Boot web application, and yeah, real configurations means
XML configuration, annotation.
yes. It's yeah. One is XML annotation. Another is annotations, using annotations configuration. Another is XML.
Java based configuration. So
Okay.
what are the stereotype annotations?
Stereotype. Iterate controller and iterate service. Iterate component
Hmm.
and controller. Iterate controller. Iterate component and iterate service configuration.
So the main stereotype annotations are at the rate component, at the rate controller, at the rate service, and
Yeah.
at the rate repository. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm. Next, what is the difference between array list and linked list?
Array list, which is similar of the array, which contains all the similar data, but by its collection framework class, and by which we can create a dynamic array. like the by in
what is the difference between @controller and @rest controller?
yes, at the rate, yes sir, at the rate controller which marks the class as a Spring MVC controller, and at the rate controller it's a special controller used
Hmm.
response body annotation. Uh, and at the rate controller which is a specialized version of at the rate component, and rest controller is the special version of at the rate controller, and like at the rate controller indicate is used for a class indicate that it's a controller like a web controller, and rest controller indicates a class which controls
So
methods
at the
like
rate
API.
you annotated a class with @controller, then it makes that class as a MVC controller
Basic
layer. Okay.
controllers. Yeah.
@rest controller means it is the combination
Yes.
of controller and response body.
Yes,
So
sir. I
response
mentioned.
body, correct. Response body, it internally
Yes, yes,
contains
yes.
HTTP
Yes, sir. That
converters.
only I'm going to say. Yeah. But in controller, we have to use explicitly at the rate request body for every method.
Hmm. Java is a pure object-oriented language or not?
No, it's not a pure object-oriented language.
Why? Why it is not a pure Java, pure object-oriented language?
Uh, I don't know, sir.
Hmm. What is the array?
Array, which is a data type which stores the similar data like in a similar memory location, and it uses indexes to access the data of particular index, and yeah,
What are the Java features? Main Java features?
Java futures, oops concept, and Java 8 are like stream API, lambda expression, function interface, multi-threading, and exception handling.
What is the difference between platform independent and distributed application?
Uh, Platform independent means like when we can write the code from one OS, and we can run on any other OS. Like if we write the code in a Windows, but uh, which can be run on any other devices, and distributed.
Platform independent, it follows Vara principle. Write once, run anywhere. Distributed applications means it runs through a internet by using RMI and EJB. RMI stands for remote method invocation and EJB stands for enterprise Java Bean. Okay?
Yeah, okay. I mean, actually, you said only for the Spring Boot, so I have not revised all those topics. That's right.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, Amma. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, sir. Sir, like, why this mock is taken?